All right, what's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are enjoying your day. So, Ravens flock, I gotta say, man, it has been a crazy season so far. One of the craziest seasons I've seen from the Ravens since I've been a fan. This is easily one of the craziest seasons we've seen in franchise history. I do not know how our season will end. Will it end with us winning a Super Bowl? I hope so. Will it end with us not making the playoffs? Hopefully not. Will we make the playoffs, get back to the division round, and fall short again? Hopefully not. But I do not know how the Ravens story will end this season. But I can tell you right now, it has been nothing but crazy. Despite all the injuries we've gone through, because we have lost so many people. So many people that are gone that are not coming back. Despite all the injuries, despite all the issues we've had offensively, with the play calling being inconsistent, the execution not being there, players being in and out of the lineup because they're getting injured and having to spend some time getting themselves back together before they can come back. Despite all the issues we see on defense with the play calling from Wink Martindale being problematic at times, especially down the stretch in key moments, with the defense as a whole not being able to tackle for much of this season. A lot of miscommunications in the secondary and a lot of big plays given up by our cornerbacks and our safeties. Just a whole bunch of mess. All the heartache, all the crazy games that have come down to the wire, all the epic comebacks, despite everything this team has gone through. Right now, through 10 games, we are 7-3. We stand first place in the AFC North, and we are in second place in the AFC overall. That's amazing. That is something we actually have to sit back and appreciate. I know we have a lot of problems with this team. I have been voicing them every week. But we really just got to sit back for a second and appreciate the fact that we're actually 7-3 despite everything that we've gone through. All the issues, all the problems. We're 7-3. We're first in the AFC North. We control our own destiny. We kind of have an opportunity to potentially take the number one seed in the AFC because it's completely wide open. I mean, it's crazy to think that this team that has gone through all the injuries they've gone through, two major players, all the terrible, terrible performances they've had in first halves, like all the nonsense they've gone through, all the crazy games they've been through, all the comebacks they've had to pull off, despite everything they've gone through, they're 7-3. I cannot speak for how crazy that is. If you were to tell me at the beginning of the season, or even before the injuries happened, if you were to have told me that the Ravens were going to lose a bunch of players, a good chunk of their starters, they were going to lose those guys, they were going to struggle offensively and defensively, the play calling offensively will be inconsistent, the play calling defensively will be problematic down the stretch because we like to be over-aggressive with the blitzing, the defense will be confused half the time. A lot of miscommunication there. Lack of execution when it comes to tackling, as well as a lot of big plays given up because of blown coverages. Offense struggling to protect our quarterback. If you were to tell me all of this stuff was going to happen throughout this season, and despite that we'd be 7-3, I'm going to be honest, I couldn't sit here and say I would believe you. Because if we're missing that many players, that's supposed to be the end of us. Yet, despite that, we're still fighting. We're still at the top of our division. We're still second in the AFC. We control our own division, or we control our own destiny, and we can take control of this division with the next 3 games coming up. So the ball is in Baltimore's court. Like, it's really in Baltimore's court right now. If they can just take advantage of these next 3 games, it's going to be even crazier. If they win these next 3 games, I can sit back here and say they have a great chance to win this division, and I wouldn't have to worry that much, especially because of the games we have down the stretch. But yeah, despite everything we've gone through, we're 7-3. That is something we got to appreciate. We really do got to appreciate it. And yes, I have my problems with Greg Roman. I've been consistently talking about this. I've been advocating for this man to be gone. However, this season, if you've been paying attention to what I've been, my whole opinion on Greg Roman and how I've been acting, I've had my moments where I've spoken out and said I've wanted this man gone. My opinion on that has not changed. I still want him gone because I do not believe this is the offensive coordinator we need to have in Baltimore long term. Like, in the future, I do not believe we should keep him. But this season, I have given Greg Roman a lot of credit for the good he's done, and I've also given him a lot of leniency because of all the injuries and the lack of execution we've seen on this offense. It's hard to sit back and blame Greg Roman when the offensive line is not protecting Lamar Jackson. And we saw it again here too against the Bears. They did not protect Huntley. He got sacked 6 times in that game. 6 times. The Bears got to him 6 times. This offensive line has not been doing well for much of this season. They've been giving up a lot of sacks. It don't matter who's under center. They've been giving up a lot of sacks. So when the offensive line is not doing a great job protecting the quarterback, it's hard for me to sit back here and get on Greg Roman's case with the play calling. Now, there are moments like the Dolphins where I'm like, yeah, that was bad execution. But there was no adjustments made because the Dolphins continued to run a cover 0 blitz and you had no response to that. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It's just moments like that. It's moments like the Raiders game where I have some confusion. There are just moments throughout the season I've had plenty of problems with Greg Roman's play calling. However, I've been very lenient on him because we're injured and the offense isn't executing, especially when it comes to the offensive line. I'm not going to blame Greg Roman if the players can't execute. How can I blame him and say he's calling a bad game if the offensive line can't even give Lamar enough time to make a play? We didn't even get to see what play call that was. Maybe it was a good call by Greg Roman, but because Lamar gets sacked because the offensive line can't protect him, no one's going to know what he was planning to do. Maybe it ends up being a big game, and it's a good play by Greg Roman. We get a huge gain. Maybe we get a touchdown of it. I don't know. So it's hard for me to gauge Greg Roman's overall performance in the play calling. However, there have been plenty of moments where I've been able to do so, and when it's been good, I've given them complete credit, and you've seen it. When it's been poor, I have criticized him. Like that, my opinion is not going to change. Long term, I do not want Greg Roman to be our offensive coordinator because I just do not like the inconsistency. I don't like the lack of consistency in making adjustments. And I'm starting to see the same thing with Wink Martindale, though I feel like Wink Martindale's isn't an inability to, it's more so pride. When you look at Greg Roman and the lack of, or not even a lack of, because that was last year. The last year we saw a lack of adjustments, which really killed us. But this year we've seen adjustments from Greg Roman, and when he's made those adjustments, it's worked. But this year it's been more so about inconsistencies in the adjustments, like the Dolphins game. To give him credit, in the Bears game, we did see some adjustments by Greg Roman. Like I said, there was this one play where they actually had Huntley just roll to the right to give himself some extra time. They ran Mark Andrews across the middle, and he was open, and Huntley hit him. That's a great call right there because you're buying time for your quarterback. You're stretching the field, and now Andrews can break free, running across the middle, and Huntley can hit him. That's a good call by Greg Roman. Greg Roman actually had some creative play calls in that Bears game, so I give him credit. There were some moments where I didn't like the play calling, but honestly, I spoke about it in the live stream. I couldn't really say anything about Greg Roman today. He was completely, free of anything he did today because you're missing your starting quarterback and you're missing your number one receiver in Marquise Brown. So, what can I say? When Lamar Jackson's not playing, how am I going to look at Greg Roman and say, well, you should have called a better play call than that? No, you're playing your backup in Huntley, who had to step into this role and didn't even know he was going to have to do so. Shout out to him because he was a stud against the Bears. Not even knowing he had to play until getting on the bus to go there. And for him to go out there and do what he did, credit to him, man. The interception wasn't even his fault. The interception was just one of those plays that just ended up happening, So he played a really good game for the circumstance he was thrown into. And it just shows how prepared he's always, it just shows how prepared he is week in and week out for whenever he has to go out there. So that man is clearly prepared to play any week he has to. So shout out to Huntley. And again, Greg Roman was creative with some of the play calling, so I give him credit. But it's been the inconsistency. Maybe I got to see this team healthy next year and then see what Greg Roman can do if he even is here next year, which, he probably will be. Even though I want him gone, he probably will be. But, I got to see something, a little bit different there. So, Maybe we get healthy next year and Greg Roman's still here because I doubt he's going to get fired. Maybe then I'll get to fully assess what Greg Roman can do in the play calling. And then at that point, I can make that type of decision on whether or not he should be here long term. But, it's just been inconsistencies with execution on offense and the play calling. Defense, it's been about the just for the first 7-8 weeks of the season, it was the inability to tackle minus the Chargers game. It was the inability to tackle from this defense. Then they started to get that together, but then now the glaring issue we're seeing is the lack of communication that we're seeing in the secondary because they keep giving up big plays and it's just confusing how this is happening. So the secondary's got to get themselves together for the most part. And Wink Martindale, his defense has been good at times. It's been great in rare times, but it's starting to become a little bit of an issue how he decides to call the game down the stretch. We all know Wink Martindale is very blitz happy. No question. He's very blitz happy. He's not going to change that fact. My problem is he's blitz happy to a fault, and he is willing to die on that sword. And we clearly saw that come to fruition on that fourth down play. 4th and 11 against the Bears. Bears need this. They need a score here. And he decides to call an all-out blitz. I did not agree on that. I don't know why you don't back up everyone into coverage. Play zone coverage here. Just play zone coverage and make sure not to give up anything over the top. Give up anything underneath, and this will be a great example. Giving up something underneath and making them tackle because they were actually tackling relatively well. They were actually really well in this game. This was one of the best defensive performances the Ravens had all season. I don't know what that says about the Ravens defense, about the Bears offense. You make your own, you'll make your own assumption on that. But the Ravens defense played really well against the Bears. So I would have preferred, and many people would have preferred, a call where they're backing up everybody into coverage, trusting their guys in the secondary, and then forcing Andy Dalton to either make a crazy throw into tight coverage or he has to take the underneath and hope somebody can pick up the first down. Instead, you run an all-out blitz, and you get Westry one-on-one who, I don't know what he's doing. It seems like he got beat, and then he just gave up, and then you got a player wide open, easy touchdown, and that almost cost us the game. So the play calling, it's not bad defensively. It's not bad because much of it has to deal with execution and blown coverages. But my issue just comes in with these blitzes, man. Wink loves to blitz far too much, and he's willing to die on that sword. That's where the pride comes in. Wink sometimes doesn't want to make the adjustments because he likes to be that type of coordinator that's like, yeah, I'm going to blitz, and I'm going to let you know I'm going to blitz, and I'm not going to change it. Stop it. Well, there are plenty of times where teams have stopped it, and it's resulted in some poor results. We saw that happen week 1 against the Raiders, and we saw that happen here. Luckily, it wasn't the demise of us like it was in the Raiders game, but it happens here. I'm just afraid that if Wink does not get out of this blitz-happy mindset, it could potentially cost us a game down the stretch. Maybe it's a regular season game, maybe it's a playoff game. I hope it never happens. I hope we're never in that situation. But if we do find ourselves in that situation and Wink decides to blitz on a 4th down play, I'm going to be sitting here scared out of my mind because I just don't trust it. I just don't trust it. If especially in a week like that where you're missing Jimmy Smith and Anthony Averett, you just don't do that. You don't put Westry one-on-one and assume he's going to get it. Westry's not even that great in coverage. He struggles with that. That's something he needs to improve on. But he's not that great in coverage. So putting him one-on-one in a crucial play like that, nah, I didn't agree with that. But yeah, other than that, we got some issues left and right. But despite all that, the Ravens sit here at 7-3. If there's one thing you could say about this Baltimore Ravens team is that they're resilient. They have gone through every possible scenario you can go through as a team so far, and I'm sure it's only going to get worse from here. This team is easily the most resilient team that we've seen under the Lamar Jackson era. Easily. They've gone through it all. They've gone through the tough losses. They've gone through a dominating win. They've gone through the close games that come down to a wire. They've gone through the epic comebacks, the double-digit comebacks. They've done it on prime time. They've done it on Sunday. They've done it everywhere. So they are resilient. They do not give up. They understand if they're down, it's not over. They're resilient. Right now, if you want to pick one team that's resilient in the NFL, you got to look at the Ravens because despite all they've gone through, they've been resilient in these games and they've pulled through and they're 7-3 for a reason. So yeah, just gotta appreciate that moment. Obviously, we still have some problems, as I pointed out, with the coaching and the execution, but we'll see how that goes down the stretch. Obviously, these final 7 games are gonna be rough. Starts off Sunday night with Cleveland coming to Baltimore. Then we gotta go to Pittsburgh. Then we gotta head over to Cleveland. So these next 3 games, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, that could ultimately change how the AFC North is going to look in the next couple weeks. This week is AFC North week because, we are taking on the Browns and the Steelers are taking on the Bengals. So we could potentially see some changes in the AFC North in terms of how the rankings are. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, once again, appreciate what the Ravens have done so far. Obviously, there are some problems like I pointed out, but we'll see if we can get some of this fixed as the season goes on. Hopefully, we'll get Lamar later on this week. He did not practice today, which I'm not worried. If he doesn't practice on Thursday, that's where I get concerned because now that means the sickness has really gotten him. But he didn't practice today. Even if he doesn't practice tomorrow, I'm not going to be worried. If he practices Thursday, he's fine because if he practices Thursday and practice Friday, he'll be good to go for Sunday. But yeah, we'll see what happens, man. I can't wait to talk about that. But with that being said, that is all I got, and I'm out of here, man. Peace!